Welcome to our midweek reading. I hope you had a chance to tune into Critical Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page twice today. Once was Reverend Lisa at 9:15, and the other one was our midweek meditation. I think Danielle's already done that. If not, she'll be here shortly. The quote for the day is, "To love someone is to see a miracle invisible to others." To love someone is to see a miracle invisible to others. And that was Francois Mauriac. So there you go. And where are we now? Let's see. Here we are. Today's reading is called Leadership Possibilities. And I like this one. It's by William Arthur Ward, who says, "The mediocre teacher tells. The good teacher explains. The superior teacher demonstrates. The great teacher inspires." So there you are. The mediocre teacher tells, the great teacher explains, the superior teacher teaches, and the great teacher inspires. William Arthur Ward. And Ernest Holmes, I don't know why this is in here actually, but it is, so I'll read it. He says, "A number of our leaders believe in reincarnation, and to me it is ridiculous, but I won't argue with them." And that was Ernest Holmes and the philosophy of Ernest Holmes. I'm really not 100% sure why that's in there. It's about leadership, but the connection, I don't think it's kind of odd. Anyway, there you are. But that's just my opinion, right? Then he asks, "What is your leadership style?" This is something that always comes up in Toastmasters, where they actually have a speech where you actually demonstrate your leadership style. So I'm quite familiar with this. Then he asks, "What is possible when someone is an effective leader?" He says, "I didn't embrace what it meant to recognize my potential to be a leader until I was asked to join an organization formed in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the 1960s, yes, in response to increased gang activity." He says, "I was chosen because of my connection with the community, specifically the youth, as a martial arts instructor and public school teacher." He says, "Even now, many years later, I sometimes struggle with embracing leadership. Each time someone asks me to run for Centers for Spiritual Living spiritual leader, I take a deep breath of gratitude before telling them I'm not eligible until I'm 62. I'm grateful for the suggestion because in that moment, I appreciate that they see me as capable. As they embrace the possibilities, I pause and I breathe." Then he says, "We're all invited to embrace the possibilities of leadership because we can all lead in our own divine ways, in our own unique ways, right? None of us needs to lead like Yeshua, Jesus, Martin, I guess he's talking about Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm, and I think he's talking about Malcolm X, Gandhi, or Gautama Buddha, or just the Buddha if you prefer. He says, "I simply need to lead only as Ray can, and you as only you can. Lead with divine grace, with love, with joy, and with gratitude, always grounded in principle and reflecting the values of the teachings to which you are a part." He says, "One of my favorite shirts says, 'Lead like Harriet.'" Harriet Tubman, I think he's talking about. "Dream like Martin," and I think he's talking about Martin Luther King Jr. "Write like Maya Angelou. Speak like Frederick. Build like Madame CJ and fight like Malcolm." He says, "Educate like W.E.B." And I would say, pick your own person who you might want to emulate, or choose your own leadership style. I think it's good. He says, "Your invitation today is to step into your role as a leader and to serve." Well, the thing is, we all do lead in our own individual ways. And who's this quote by? There's a famous quote, and I've forgotten who said it now, but I think It was Antoine de Saint-Exupéry and Saint-Exupéry. Anyway, bottom line is the quote is something like this. He says, if I were asked to have an army of 1,000 lions led by a sheep, or an army of 1,000 sheep led by a lion, I would sooner choose the lion. That's how important he saw leadership. So, but he's right. We all lead in our own individual ways. But the main way I think that we lead is by example. You know, being a minister, being a teacher, it's something that you have to live up to. And if you don't live by example, if you don't practice what you preach, then I think you're wasting your time. But on the other hand, if you do practice what you preach and you live by example, yeah, you do actually make a big impact on the world. It may not seem a big impact, but ultimately it will be a big impact. So that is my contribution for you today. Please look out for Reverend Lisa tomorrow at 9:15. Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page. Find me and wherever you find me on social media. There's about 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 8 different things I send this out to. He gives us some affirmation. I accept the call to lead as only I can. I accept the call to lead as only I can. There are no cats I can't wrangle. And I serve and I show up and lives are changed. How about that? I serve and I show up and lives are changed. I think that's actually pretty cool. To me, that's the best one of the lot there, yeah? I accept the call to lead as only I can. I serve and I show up and lives are changed. So hopefully I'll be back. What is wrong with this thing? I don't know. So I will be back tomorrow, hopefully around about 5 p.m. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. Tomorrow, I will be back online at some stage, somewhere between 4 and 8, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m., 1600 and 2000 if you prefer that. So until then, my prayer for everyone is I know that each and every one here steps into their own pure leadership role and that they follow the dictates of Spirit. And I claim this is truth. I release it, call it down, and with gratitude I say, and so it is.